Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time now, as I gird my loins in an orange jock in preparation for the moments that make us special. Here's the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. Pooh, yeah. You know what? Some weeks it's a lot of bad news, and so when I bring you things that are somewhat bad news, I think the perspective has to be, one that things are changing, because that's the way I look at it. In other words, not to get all bummed out about bad news, because I got to go tomorrow. Where's my tumbler? It's just a lot of bad news, and so today I do have some. It may be a bit of a downer, maybe, but I'm gonna try to find the good side into it. But it may be some bad news. It may be some bad news, but stuff that But look at a lot of stuff dealing with racism. As it turns out, you guys, last week I told you about the young lady who's a Japanese lady who's a mixed heritage. Her father's black, her mother's Japanese, who was crowned Miss Japan. Right. Which means she was going to represent Japan in the Miss Universe contest. And she is what they've been using terms for her, because everywhere, whenever you have mixed folks, you have terms for that. Of course. Everything, Nigamoto, Spookanese, wow, every kind of thing. But I haven't heard of those. Yeah, that's what they had when I was growing up. Because, well, my mother's half Chinese. Mm-hmm. Evelyn Wong. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, and at the time when we were coming up, you had some of the children from Korea who were black and Korean because of the war. So these are not new issues. So, and in fact, in having this discussion with other folks, we really realized that everywhere, when you have mixed people, there's a whole discussion. So there's an ongoing debate in Japan about her being Japanese enough. Wow. Now, like I said, Mac, take a look. She is gorgeous. One thing I always say, the exotic, you always want to take them home. So, okay, but I think what happens today, you guys, remember, my point of view with all this racism issues is that it's just that people are sensitized, right? It's just that people are sensitized to it today. And so we're seeing more. It's not that I don't think it's more racism today. I just think because people are willing to talk about it, then you hear more. For example, turns out Seinfeld there was an article that came out listing a couple of Seinfeld show edits that were very questionable. Okay, and one of them had a line in which George Costanza said, "I've never seen a black person order a salad." Wow. Which I think, since I eat out all the time, and I order a salad over half the times that I eat out, I order a lot of salads. Me too. So, but there were some others. There were some other things, even in this, about that could have come out that were in the Seinfeld script. They were actually giving listings of things that were considered too hot. Okay, like one of the episodes that they never did was where Elaine gets off in the wrong place and winds up in the middle of the black neighborhood. So you have the beautiful white woman lost in the ghetto.
You made a movie about that you liked.
Yeah, but nowadays, I love that movie. What was the name of that movie?
Lost White Woman in the Ghetto.
No, it's the one. What was the one where she? I know the comedy. It was a comedy.
You told me about it.
I thought you were going to say Jungle Fever.
No, it was a recent movie. I have it on Amazon. It's about this girl goes to a club and ends up, just because she's drinking and acting crazy, ends up like outside of the club at the wrong side of town with no purse, no stuff, and all that. So she has to walk home. Oh, from the and the whole thing is how she's trying to get home, but no, these brothers start coming to help her. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, so I just want you guys to be aware of that Seinfeld. There's on the.
Wait, but how did they get it? Was it hacked? Was something hacked? Because I'm sure they didn't put it out.
Yeah,
right?
no. Actually, what's amazing is that this stuff was being. Let's see. We can follow the article came out. Let's see. The article came out. I'm trying to find, here we go. You have to go to where I linked. Right, the article came out. It's called "The Racial Joke That Got an Entire Seinfeld Episode Vetoed" by NBC. Okay, so, and that was the quote. I've never seen a black person order a salad. I used to have a person I knew who was kind of a bigot at work, an administrator, used to tell me, I've never met a white Washington. Wow. He used to say it all the time. He thought it was funny. He's an idiot. Wow. He also later offered me a big, huge promotion.
I've never met a white Allen.
No, wait a minute.
I've never met a white Allen.
Let me ask you something. This is just to get on this.
I just say it's interesting how bigots, when they bond you, right. And years later, the same bigot tried so hard to give me a promotion and the head of a department, and then couldn't understand why I didn't want to come with him to be one of his generals.
Right.
He loved me, but he was a bigot idiot.
Well, he wanted one black friend. You could say, I have a black friend. I've had a few of those
in my life.
I have a black friend, He wanted to say that.
You just have, for some reason, they would bond to me. Could even eat lunch. But the article's The Racial Joke. You can Google it. They got an entire Seinfeld episode vetoed by NBC.
Wait, but Victor, isn't this the same one that had the
yes,
guy that in the club and
that's why it's not good.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you're moving forward, remember, this is where we're different, you guys. And people say, Mario, I'm not gonna be. I say, I know you're not gonna be with me on this, but I'm gonna say it. I allow room for people to change. Let me just say that. I know too many people who've had stupid views. I know a whole bunch of black people that say horrible things about gay people. Mm-hmm. Okay, horrible, absolutely horrible. And claim they're Christians. Okay? So everybody I know got bigotry and biases in them.
But you know what you say, change?
Well, in other words, I'm willing to see you make an effort and change because I do believe that people change on issues like race. I think issues like race are actually some of the things you change faster based on what the experience is. In other words, I've seen some amazing examples. Can you imagine, for example, there was a couple that I saw that they were it was you to hear them tell the story. They weren't really, they said they weren't racist, but they still like black people too much, around them. They didn't have anything active. So white folks think racist is if you go out and go get them. If you just sit at home and don't like them, that's not racist to them. to a lot, the old generations. That's the truth. They would go, I'm not racist. I just don't like black folks around my people. I don't like black folks living around me, but I'm not racist.
But see, that's why I was saying I don't think that it's a change thing because they don't think they're doing anything wrong. You know what I mean?
But what happens is that life changes everybody. Whatever your issues are, whether racism is just another area, right? You can have sexism, you have all the isms, true. Right? So anyway, what happened was this couple, their daughter got with a black man, had a baby without being married. And somehow they couldn't help it. They loved the shit out of this baby. So you can imagine, he was the white man.
So they had to change.
He was talking about how he's going around town with his little grandson, and he'll be damned if you go say anything about his grandson. And when you listen to them talk and about the changes they went through, because this grandchild. Mm-hmm. See, man, I'm just talking human experiences. Because one of the things that affects us with race is human experience. I said, remember, too, I thought about in the earthquake when those freeways collapse. Yeah, and I actually put those words into a song. I say, when they come and dig you out, I bet you that hand that reaches through has no color.
That's right.
I bet you it could be Sambo. You'll be kissing his ass. Okay. Okay.
That's true.
You don't give a damn. So I put that even when you down and out, lost out in the cold, a hand has no color.
But see, I think those are the ones that really know they're racist. For instance, I had a friend, not anymore, but I had a friend, a white lady, and she likes black men, but she would say things jokingly and say things to me that she thought was funny that I felt was racist. She didn't feel it was racist. She thought what she said, there was nothing wrong with it. So that's the part of the change that I don't see because they don't think they're doing anything wrong.
It may take your spirit, but again, see what happens is we have every example. For example, Doesn't everybody forgive the old folks that say that crazy shit? Okay. See, that's why you laugh. Because you got people you love. There are people you love them to death. And they say crazy shit.
Right.
Everybody, if you ain't got one, raise your hand. Excuse me. Okay, excuse me. Okay, because there are some in everybody's family. That's why everybody started laughing. You got family members you can't take no goddamn where. Let them say
true.
shit.
That's
Don't let them
true.
say shit. Okay. So what I'm saying is, but we still love them, right?
Right.
Remember, I'm not excusing it. I'm saying I want to allow room for
growth.
people to change and grow, to have an experience, to meet a person who changes you.
Right.
Because you meet a person from this culture, or you go and have an experience, and you never knew or experienced this thing. That's what I mean. I want to allow room in the human condition for people to have these things.
Yeah, that's
because
always
I think,
possible.
but
Yeah.
because that is how we grow. We can think back. Okay, I don't know. Again, see, since I'm a little more honest than most people, I can think back to really stupid shit I've said.
Like what?
Oh, we all
I'm
did.
not saying it. All
we
kind
all
of
did.
stupid shit.
Oh, yeah.
Just all kind of stupid.
Oh, yeah.
See,
all of us.
and there
Not
was a
you,
time.
Victor. Not
all the
you.
time.
Okay,
Really?
and
All
when
the
I
time.
was younger, there was a time I couldn't tell the Latinos from each other. I only knew Mexicans, so I didn't know El Salvador, Guatemala.
That's true. I think we've all had that
Okay,
mistake.
all right,
Yes,
and we've all
yes.
called the opposite sex by terms that we don't want to use today. Have we not? Everybody damn near, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then wait. Okay,
Some
so,
more deserving than others.
some more. Okay, so like I said, anyway, I wanted to allow room for change.
growth.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying. So let's go back, because I still had others racial issues. Okay, for one, remember the fraternity? Okay, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, when the racists singing the racist chant. So they go back and look, and when they go back and do just the most preliminary investigation, they find, lo and behold, shock once again, that these types of things were functionally endemic, part of the experience of this fraternity. They learned it. They learned those chants at a big old meeting.
All day.
So let me ask you, who is shocked to find that racism is part of one of the oldest and most prestigious, richest fraternities? Who's shocked by that?
No.
Oh, that's right. I thought you could hear a rat piss on cotton, right? That's where it goes. So no one's shocked.
No one's
Duh.
shocked. No one's
See, what
shocked.
happens is, like I told a couple of my colleagues, racism is everywhere you look. Racism, I'll say it again, racism is everywhere you look. If you don't see racism, it's because you're not looking. It's everywhere. And they were like, oh, Mario, I said racism is part of everything that happens, everything that goes. It's one of those things, just like gender. Okay, good and bad. I know, dude, when's the last time a policeman stopped you for a ticket and leaned on the car? And gave you a warning. I know women who tell me they never get tickets. They tell you, I've been stopped 20 times. I've never gotten a ticket. And then all you do is look at them. I wonder why. Lindsay Lohan gets to check in and out of jail. What brother goes to jail for an hour? You can't get black women. Fine black women don't go to jail for an hour. But no men go to jail for an hour. You got to be a woman.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So they found full proof. Sigma, Alpha, Epsilon, all kind of racist slurs and chants. What cracks me up is when you find people who have joined these fraternities, because they don't know stuff about their history.
No, they don't.
There's some other ones. So, or people where they don't know that they're like, one person was in there they were Jewish. But so I'm saying, but they're talking about you next.
Right. Right.
All right.
Definitely.
All right. So they had another police beatdown. Now I tell people there's not more police beatdowns today. There's less. But that shows you how long the police been kicking ass. That's why I used to tell people, if you know a police officer and he tells you he hasn't seen racism, he's a goddamn lie.
Well, what
Okay?
about police killings?
He's a guy.
Is that more?
Every police officer I know who tells the truth say there's dirt.
More.
Every single one.
More killings or less?
Oh, killing, but they've always been killings. And they would teach each other how to plant shit on people, all that. That's the old school. Carry a second gun, the whole thing. So they just had another beat down. This is a motorist who was pulled from the car.
Wow.
And so now with all the phones and stuff, Okay, so they're going to go to mandatory cameras because the reason why the cameras are on your cars now in 2016 is about to be mandatory on all cars because that camera costs them about $4. You know what? This little camera right here that I use is high def. I think I set Mac one on the cord because I said Mac it worked good because you have the cord on it. That camera's like $25, $30 high def. Okay, so I'm just saying. All right. So there is some racism, but I want to remind everybody that with all these issues of racism, because there's more and more stuff coming out, and bummer stuff. Okay, now bummer topic. Excuse me, of the week, just briefly. The man who flies the plane into the side. He sets the altitude for 100 feet. Mm-hmm. He waits for the other pilot to go out to the bathroom. He locks him out. Comes to find out he has a whole history of psychiatric disease. I bring this up because one of the pet peeves I have is that, as far as I know, there is no good mental health coverage in existence in the whole United States. There's no good dental insurance. If you go to the American Dental Association website, and look for recommended insurances, they have none. They start talking about doing these get-together bargaining group purchase things and all this kind of stuff. So that shows you these big lacking areas. I said this before. It's amazing that in a country with this kind of wealth, that there really doesn't exist and with the high prevalence of mental disease, where we're thinking, people maybe estimates could be up to 50% of people experience some type of significant depression during their life. Mm-hmm. There's no coverage, there's no help for any of these things, and some of these things are lifelong conditions. So once again, I bring it up because it's a shame to this day that even if you were to get identified as having a problem, what kind of intervention you're going to get, even if you have insurance, because they all have limits, and copays start to go up.
So true.
All right, so it was a bummer today. I call it the bummer day. But I did have one good topic that is kind of happy. How about this one, you guys? How many of you guys have been watching what you eat, your eggs, watching your cholesterol?
Yes.
Well, as it turns out, after all these years, they finally are releasing these reports that say that your dietary cholesterol is essentially not worth watching. Let me watch how I say that. In other words,
I saw the report.
Your dietary cholesterol, what you eat, like watching eggs, has no outcome. Now, let me tell you what it sort of comes from. It always was clear that changing your diet would not correct a cholesterol problem. There were specifically people who would decrease their dietary cholesterol and the body would raise their cholesterol itself.
DNA.
So it wasn't, so there was some regulatory function. Now, after looking at it, it doesn't make any difference kind of what you eat in terms of your dietary cholesterol. That's what they're kind of saying. Now, on the other hand, it does make a difference what your cholesterol is.
So put the egg yolk back in. It has nothing to do with
you can now go on and have that. It's important to watch your cholesterol, to monitor your cholesterol, and even to potentially have treatment for cholesterol issues. On the other hand, it doesn't look like your diet is the component. Mm-hmm. So that's why you have to be clear. So it doesn't mean you could just go hell-bent crazy with everything. Right. And who knows if you were to go eat crazy, whether or not there would be other effects of that. That's the other thing.
Right.
You could have other effects of it.
True.
But at least there are people who are really paranoid and eating only the egg white, egg white sandwiches and all that. That's just.
So if it's not eggs and that type of thing, where does the bad cholesterol come from? What should they stop?
They don't know enough. They're genetic components.
Okay.
See, it's in some ways the observations that I would say is like this: if you have a disease that makes your blood pressure go up, or your sugar go up, or your cholesterol go up, and I give you a drug that makes your cholesterol go down, or your blood pressure go down. That's not the same as telling your body that whatever was turning it up in the first place, stop doing that. right? So now you have your body doing something of an ill effect. You're giving a drug to counter that ill effect. That's not the same as telling the ill effect just to stop or stopping the ill effect.
Right.
Whenever you treat disease like that, there's always future bad outcome. Because you're not really stopping the disease, are you?
No.
You're not even
you're
getting
masking it,
right.
well, and
right?
sometimes masking it is helpful, or controlling it to that degree stops other things, right? Like if we can turn your blood pressure down, and then you won't have as high a rate maybe of hardening of the arteries or something, or lesser incidence of stroke potentially. That's the idea. On the other hand, it doesn't change some things long term. You still have a higher rate of atherosclerosis, other things.
After effect.
Yeah, so it's not quite as clear as those things. Okay, but again, so at least you can now go eat a little bit. Okay, everybody.
Hear that, Mac?
That's been.
Eat your eggs, Mac.
I used to hate it till I ate it. Tastes like fish, but smells like fish, but tastes like chicken. Even Michelle knows.
Everything tastes like chicken.
That's true. That's what everybody says. Fishy chicken.